Right now, we'll look at the early lines of interest. Jeff Nadu, BMOC, Barstool Sports. What games interest him early on in the week? Let's bring him in. We got NFL, great college weekend. Everybody's back in college. Maction begins tomorrow night as Jeff is back here on the Sports Bash Boardwalk Honda Hotline. Jeff, welcome back, my man. How are you?
I'm doing really well, Mike. How are you?
All is good. We got a full slate, right? This is the first full weekend of all the college backs, starting with the MAC all the way through to the Pac-12. This is the biggest card of the weekend, correct?
Yeah, I mean, after this weekend, Mike, Saturday, we will have 127 out of 130 teams playing outside of Old Dominion, New Mexico State, and UConn. Everyone else will be playing. So, yes, good news finally.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people like that Maction those Wednesday nights. You got a full card tomorrow night. I know over at BarstoolSports.com, you wrote a whole preview for people to get involved. So are you getting involved on that first Wednesday, or do you want to see the first week materialize? How you handling tomorrow night?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be jumping in. I obviously also have Pac-12 coming up. That one will be out tomorrow, so make sure you look out for all that stuff. I'm going to be doing a lot of that stuff coming forward with college hoops as well, so a lot to get involved with. But, yeah, as far as the MAC, it's kind of nice. Over the next couple of weeks, we'll have some Wednesday football, some weekday football as well. So very happy with that. As far as week one, a couple of lines have moved, but one that I'm definitely interested in tomorrow evening is Central Michigan and Ohio. Frank Solich for years has done very well at Ohio. He's been one of the great G6 mid-major coaches in college football. He's done a nice job there, but it's kind of a different year this year. They're breaking in a new quarterback. And actually, he is the quarterback. He's the brother of the quarterback last year that moved on, Nathan Rourke. So his brother will take over this year at the helm. I'm actually decently high, though, on this Central Michigan group. They actually made it all the way, Mike, to the MAC final last year before losing to Miami of Ohio. And this group comes back. I'm pretty high on them. They do have some concerns at quarterback right out of the gate. Their quarterback from last year, David Moore, he actually is suspended and may or may not be back. He had a suspension that was up in October, but to the coronavirus, it's not questioned whether it will count or not. So the good news for them, though, is they have a lot coming back. They have one of the best receiving cores in the conference. They have great running back in Kobe Lewis, and I'm very high on them defensively. I think they have some of the best safeties in the conference. They have a all-MAC linebacker in Troy Brown, and they're at home in this spot. I think early on, I want teams with a lot of returning players. I want teams with a coach and at home. So I'm going to look towards the Chippewas here as a home dog. I think this is a nice little spot here. I think Ohio's going to have some problems with this new quarterback and some of the new pieces they have.
Opened as a pick'em, it's +3, +2.5. Central Michigan getting 3, 2.5, depending on where you're putting your bets in. Then we got Thursday night, got a couple of action there. Utah State, Nevada, Wyoming, Colorado State, and Friday, a couple interesting ones. Miami, NC State, that's a goodie, and I know you like to get in on BYU. They're playing Boise. That one's an interesting one.
Yeah, it really is. Real quick, Mike, with the Colorado State-Wyoming game, I would look towards the over in this game. This number seems too low. Obviously, you want to check on your weather conditions. These might probably, from a Division I standpoint, these are the two toughest places to go play in America. The good thing for both these groups is they're very familiar with rugged, tough conditions. Wyoming's been kind of a different team than in years past. Defensively, they're not as good. They actually were quite good last week, but their offense looks a lot different. They're throwing a lot more. They're more on the run. Colorado State has had trouble stopping teams last year and then so far this year. So I would look maybe at an over that's just a little too low there. But, yeah, Boise State, BYU, this is really, Mike, outside of the possibility I've heard out in Provo in Utah that BYU is looking to add a game in their schedule, maybe Marshall possibly, which would be a big-time game for them. But this is outside of San Diego State, the last time BYU has the opportunity to kind of show what they're capable of. This is a very good football team. I have some concerns about Boise. Obviously, they're not going to have possibly their quarterback, Hank Buckmeyer. Defensively, I didn't think they looked very good against Air Force. They only have one game under their belt. BYU's played for weeks now. Their offense is flying. And I think, to be honest, Mike, if you ask me who is the Heisman favorite right now at this date, I would say it's Zach Wilson. I don't think there's a player that has had more success this season than him. Trevor Lawrence has missed some games. Zach Wilson has been unbelievable. And I'm going to tell you right now, the Philadelphia Eagles should very much look at him next year in the NFL draft. I've soured on Carson Wentz. I don't think they'll do it, but I would love to see it in a perfect world. I like him a lot. I'll be all over BYU probably this week.
Opened as a pick'em. They are now a 2.5-point favorite, 3 points someplace. That's a Friday night game. Jeff Nadu, Barstool Sports. I know you like the AAC. Temple has been a team you've sniffed out a lot. East Carolina, I know you've been around a lot of those games. Also, South Florida's playing Memphis. Is there an AAC game you want to hit on?
Yeah, it was reported yesterday by the Philadelphia Inquirer, good work by them, that Anthony Russo, this is just terrific work by a publication. It's very difficult to get info nowadays on injuries. Great work by, I'm going to guess it's probably Mark Narducci that did it. Great work by him to go out and get this info. Russo not playing hurts. Temple looked lost offensively last week. I'm going to probably be looking to avoid them. Maybe an SMU team total here, Mike, possibly. But Tulane is interesting. Tulane, East Carolina. I actually like the Pirates at home here, Mike. Your woman's alma mater here. They showed me something last week against Tulsa. I thought they were screwed in that football game. They should have won. They were screwed by the referees if you watch the game. They're getting 4.5 here against a big defense, a quarterback that's not had a ton of experience. ECU's got a good offense. Their offensive line's starting to play better. Defensively, they're figuring some things out. I think it's going to be a shootout. I think 4 points are going to be very valuable here. I'll look to grab ECU. I think Mike Houston finally gets something to go his way there with the Pirates. And that's kind of it so far in the AAC. I did want to touch quickly on the Pac-12, Mike. I've been very inundated with this conference as the weeks went on. As I said, I have a blog coming out tomorrow. I'm very high on this conference. But I think it's important to make the listeners well known. There is a lot of players, particularly on the offensive line, on certain teams that are going to be good that have opted out, i.e. Oregon. Oregon is the de facto favorite in the Pac-12. Their star top 5 pick, Penei Sewell, has opted out. He won't play at left tackle for them this year. You look at all of a sudden, I still like Oregon a lot, but he's not going to play. Walker Little for Stanford's opted out. We've got some coaching changes. Arizona State, Mike, keep your eye on that Sun Devil group with former Eagle Herm Edwards. I don't know if you know this, Mike, but he has co-defensive coordinators. Give a listen to these two names. Marvin Lewis and Antonio Pierce are his defensive coordinators down at Arizona State. They are really good coming back. I think they have the strongest defense out on the West Coast. Don't be surprised if Arizona State wins this conference. I'm very high on that group this year in a weird year in college football.
Sure is. All right. Jeff Nadu, Barstool Sports. Before we get a couple quick NFL thoughts, I know Minnesota's been a disappointment when you look at the Big Ten. Now we have a couple Big Ten games under our belt. We know that Rutgers is getting 37 this week. Now, you can't bet that game on the Jersey side. You have to be on the PA side, like Barstool Sports, use an app like that. You also have that Clemson-Notre Dame game. So anything in the Big Ten or that big-time Notre Dame, of course, Lawrence being out, that game's up to 5.5, 6 some places. Any of those stand out?
Yeah, I think if you can get anything under 7 with Clemson, I would have some interest there. I think they're going to go in and punk Notre Dame. Notre Dame's played no one. I'm not incredibly high on them, especially from an offensive perspective. Ian Book's a solid player. He's nothing special. I think Clemson's defense is obviously one of the best in the country. And, look, say what you want, Mike. If you watch the Boston College-Clemson game, I would probably be ventured to say that all of the touchdowns that BC had were very random. There were some great catches. There was a fumble return for a touchdown. Clemson offensively had a great day. I think BC was lucky to stay in that game and even have a shot. They obviously had a big defensive touchdown, as I said. This kid, DJ Olagolele, is really good. I think he is the future there. I'm not going to tell you right now, Mike, he's the next Deshaun Watson at Clemson. He is very good. He's gotten some great experience. I think they are the best team in the country. It's not close. I think they take care of business here and win by double digits.
All right, Jeff Nadu, let's quickly flip to some NFL. Quickly, we know it's early in the week. It's Tuesday, but we like to look at some early things. If something jumps out that maybe made that quick move, and, there's not a whole heck of a lot of crazy line movement so far in the NFL. Everything's kind of holding steady to kind of start things off, except for one game that I see is the Lions and the Vikings. You had that Vikings win, so I guess people are going to kind of have that in their mind. Okay, the Vikings won. Maybe they're turning the corner. And they started 2. Now they're up to 4 already. And the Lions, of course, are a team that I don't trust all that much. But you get 2 bad teams there, and all of a sudden, boom, that line kind of jumps up a little bit because people saw the Vikings beat a good team.
Yeah, Mike, the Lions are interesting because, I feel like, I don't know about you, but I feel like they lose every game they play. I don't know why. I was blown away Monday, this morning when I saw they were 3-4. And, they found ways to obviously beat the Falcons and the Cardinals, and they're 3-4. I like your thinking here. I think the Lions are the play. I was pretty high on this team to start the season. I think defensively, I know outside of last week they didn't really show it, but, 2 of the last 3 games they've held teams to 22 or fewer points. I think they're getting there. I don't think the Vikings are very good. They can't really move the football through the air. I think the Lions are worth the look. I think that's a nice call by you, but I'm going to make this clear. I'm definitely a little bit more skeptical as the season goes on to come out and bet games before, whether it's college or the NFL. One game I am playing, and I plan to get on this probably today, is the Seahawks and Bills over the number. I want to obviously check the weather up at Buffalo, but, when you look at both these teams, neither group has any defensive prowess. The Seahawks, to me, are a top 3 worst defense in the league. They can't stop anything through the air. The Bills have been very disappointing on that side of the ball. Both teams very good offensively. They make a lot of plays. Seattle seemingly makes 2 or 3 big run or pass plays per game. You also look at the explosiveness of these teams. 11%, Mike, of the Bills' offensive plays have gone for 20 yards or more. So there's a lot of big play opportunity for these two groups. Barring any weather issues, I think over 53.5 looks very tasty.
Yeah, 53.5 is at BetMGM. It's 54 in most of the places. It started at 55. Last one I'll kind of get your take on is that Steelers-Cowboys, because the Cowboys are now like the whipping boy of the league. Steelers, of course, undefeated with that win last week, up to 13.5. Is that something you jump on early if you like the Steelers?
Well, I hate to burst the bubble out there for anyone, but you could have got 10.5 when it came out. Look, I think the Cowboys are, it's pretty clear. With Ben DiNucci at quarterback, they're not going to put up more than 10 points. They're just not going to. Ben DiNucci doesn't belong in the NFL. I hate to say it. Seems like a nice kid. Looks a lot like Kyle Orton, if you remember him. But they're just not very good. Ezekiel Elliott is a mess. The offensive line had problems. And defensively, I thought they played pretty well the other night. I think they're much worse than they showed. This game screams 31-7, 31-10, something like that. I actually would kind of rate this kind of like the Chiefs-Jets game. I think it's very similar. I think the Steelers are very good. I said at the beginning of the year I thought they were a Super Bowl type of team. If they stay healthy, which for the most part they have, outside of Devin Bush, but they have guys, Mike, that you can just come in and play. You look at a kid like Robert Spillane out of the MAC. He actually played in that conference. He came in and had a pick 6 the other day. They can just plug guys in. They're really good. I think the Steelers are an outside Super Bowl type of team, and that's been pretty clear. This game screams 31-10 to me.
All right, Jeff, before we roll, I know you got Barstool Sports blogs going up. You've got the college basketball getting ready. I know always the Serie A stuff. So is there anything else out there for our listeners that you want to educate them on this Tuesday?
Yeah, I'm actually pretty happy. I actually got some good go-aheads today from the boss man over at Barstool. So we got some great things in the works for college hoops coming up. We do have a Serie A game tomorrow, Mike. It's a makeup game in coronavirus issues. Genoa and Torino. Genoa could be, Mike, the worst offensive side in Serie A. They've had real trouble scoring goals. They're coming off a tough matchup against Sampdoria. It's what they call a derby. It's kind of rival teams, kind of the Boston and New York type of rivalry. It's a regional kind of matchup. Now they got to head up north. Torino has to head up and take on Genoa. Should be a hard-fought game, but I'm willing to believe both teams can score here. Torino has a player called Andrea Belotti. He's one of the best players in the league. He could score goals. They don't do real well keeping clean sheets. And I think Genoa is finally licking their chops at their ability to maybe score a goal here. I wouldn't have any problem laying the juice here on both teams to score at about 150. I think both these teams at least find the back of the net. Wouldn't be surprised if we kind of have a winner determined late in the game. I don't really want to worry about it, though. I think both teams score, though, here. Genoa, Torino, both teams to score on Wednesday.
All right, Jeff Nadu, we're back on Saturday morning. We'll go through the college card, the NFL card, 9 o'clock. Get your coffee and join us, 9 o'clock Saturday morning. And by the way, you remembering that my girlfriend went to ECU, that's tremendous work out of you.
Well, Mike, a lot of people don't know this, but I have a photographic memory. I'm very good at retaining info. It's one of the reasons I'm so good at remembering sports things. And I also want to shout out to the great 97.3 ESPN in South Jersey for getting the great and creative leader of men, Daryl Morey, on the program. I'm dead excited for it. I can't wait. I'm truly meaning that, Mike. I'm so excited. James Harden is coming to Philadelphia. We don't need Daryl Morey to tell us that. It's going to happen, folks. And finally, Mike, we in this city may win a championship. I will be 2 blocks away. I'll be at every home game when they accept fans again. I cannot wait. My enthusiasm is palpable.
I like it. Yes, he will be joining us here in about 12 minutes. So with that, Jeff Nadu, we wish you adieu. We'll talk to you Saturday, pal.
Thank you, Mike.